Everyone seems to have gone to sleep. They seem to think that Brexit's happening, even though it's the same as Theresa May's deal. It's a brino, it's not the real Brexit, because the EU said they wouldn't negotiate. But Brexit's definitely going to happen. Yeah, but what's going to definitely happen is the illusion of Brexit. So the division and everything is still going to happen, and despite all that, Boris thinks it's okay to sell our internet infrastructure to China. So we've trusted a company that's a high risk, that Trump said we absolutely cannot trust. Huawei. At a time when China is experiencing a virus that's spreading through the rest of the world, infecting everyone and killing them in greater numbers than SARS. Yeah, we can trust China. But ultimately it's a pointless discussion, because it comes down to who do you want to be the architects of your doom? Do you want Britain to kill us with its infrastructure, or do you want China to kill us? Because 5G is going to kill us regardless. There isn't enough of an activist movement against it. We managed to stop fracking or get it to push back fracking, but we can't do it with 5G. Mainly because the globalists have fooled us by calling it 5G, because it seems like a logical progression from 4G, and it's not. It's anything but a logical progression. It's a completely different system, and it's military stinger technology, and we know that. They've got military whistleblowers that come out and say it's a weapon. Well, of course it's a weapon. Everything that's given to us is a weapon now. Twitter, woke culture, everything's a weapon against us, the people. The media, the establishment, all the lovies, they all agree with the wokeness, but the people... they don't, and increasingly there's a number of actors and singers and celebrities that are pushing back against it, the latest being Lawrence Fox. Because until that episode of Question Time, I don't think any white person has ever called out a black person for calling them white. I don't think any white person's ever called a black person racist on national television. But we should have been calling out the racist identitarians in the Labour Party, for example, for the last few years, and some of us have been. But we shouldn't have allowed it to get as bad as it has. We shouldn't have allowed Diane Abbott to say that Jamaican mothers are better than white mothers. We shouldn't have allowed David Lammy to say that it's racist for a white woman to go to Africa and pose with a black child. We shouldn't have allowed this level of racial obsession. We were more tolerant before when we took everyone on their merits, you know, in a kind of Martin Luther King way, but now the left have decided to grow beyond Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King was right, because he didn't see colour, so that's racist. So therefore Martin Luther King was racist. That's the new standard we're going to set. We're going to say everything else was wrong. Friends was homophobic, Friends was transphobic, Friends was biphobic, Friends was bigoted, misogynistic, all the rest of it. All of culture, Blackadder was homophobic, transphobic, everything else. All of culture was wrong, and now we're suddenly right. Even though nothing's working for us, even though it's not getting any ratings and no one likes it, now we're right. We just have to simply change to become woke. Well, some of us, increasingly more of us, are pushing back against the piety of wokeness. The arrogance of believing that you're better than someone else because you do what they don't, and if they do something that's outside of that wokeness, then they need to be shut down. Yeah, that's liberal. I can't believe we've got so many celebrities and Americans and rap stars and so on even wanting to be woke, even this desire to want to be woke because everyone was so obsessed with being politically correct that it translates to wokeness. Yeah, what's wrong, aren't you woke? Yes, I'm not woke. I hate political correctness. What are you going to say about that? Oh, nothing. Since when was politics correct? Since when was it taboo to criticise the correctness of politics? When was it a far-right position to call out censorship? When was it a neo-Nazi position to defend free speech? Because everything's went mad, everything's been turned on its head, and the good are now the bad are the good, your friends are your enemies are your friends, everything's gone upside down, culture was wrong, now we're right with our new wokeness. Arrogance of that. They really think that's going to work, that's going to be a sustainable ideology. Oh, but of course SNL tells us we're all racist for liking the Joker. Yeah, that's a white supremacy movie, isn't it? Oh, fuck off SNL. You're an embarrassment. The rest of the world cares about Monty Python, Blackadder, Alan Partridge, Father Ted. Doesn't care about SNL. Americans are a bit of a joke to the rest of the world, to be honest. Bill Nye, the science guy. Oh yeah, that's how we learn science, from this retard on telly. Americans are like a joke to the rest of the world. Seriously. And this is why, this kind of reverence for dumb puppets. But to be honest, we're pretty much the same. By listening to David Attenborough and saying, oh, he must be true because everything he said before was true. I learned pretty much everything I know about the natural world from David Attenborough. But now that he's gone sideways and become a climate alarmist and is lying and misrepresenting the numbers, which are discredited in their own models, he's not a scientist, he's not interested in facts. He's saying that the walruses are hurling themselves off because of climate change, not because of the polar bears forcing them to jump off or anything. He's misrepresenting the facts and therefore he's compromised and cannot be trusted anymore. There was a video posted recently on YouTube by the Global Warming Policy Forum exposing Attenborough's lies. And the comments are very telling. It's full of people that said, I used to worship this guy, I used to respect him, he was sacrosanct, he was untouchable. Now I won't watch him. That's what they're all saying. That's why they've all moved away from the BBC and he's trying to get a bigger audience as possible with Netflix, etc. People are turning him off.
Just like no one's going to see the movies because they don't like the actors that are involved in pretending to be characters. And the characters have to have this kind of woke ideology as well, and no one likes it. It's losing money. Ricky Gervais was right to call it out. Lawrence Fox is right to call it out. Dave Chappelle was right to call it out. But who else is calling it out? Who else is going to call out the fact that the police were scared to be called racist, so they let children get raped in this country? In every borough, repeatedly. Wherever groups of Pakistani Muslim men went, in the country or in the world, there are grooming gangs, there are rape gangs, and police and media which cover up for those grooming gangs because they're afraid of being called racist. That's not acceptable! There needs to be some sort of purge. The police know you cannot have face tracking technology. We don't want you to have any more technology. Why would we want you to have more powers when you are doing this? It's not acceptable. It's worse in society to be called racist than rapist. That's not acceptable. There are loads of things that are not acceptable, to be honest, but we have to accept them. We just accept them because we've got no choice. Now, the people that were the Remainers, don't accept Brexit, but we did have about 1 million different meaningful obfuscatory votes. Do you remember those meaningful votes that were meaningless? And we've had just 3 years of nothingness with Theresa May, the Remainer. Now we've got a supposed Brexiteer in charge, except he hasn't done any difference to the deal that was terrible with Theresa May. So when Theresa May made the deal, it was terrible, but when Boris makes the deal, it's wonderful. Isn't that a bit like when Obama does the policy, it's terrible, but when Trump does it, it's wonderful? But of course, I was one of the early warning signals not trusting Boris, knowing he's a globalist, knowing he went to try and save the Iran deal, and now he's got a loggerheads with Trump again by siding with Huawei at a time of international crisis with China. Yeah, what a brilliant idea, Boris. We're really looking forward to your Brexit. Is there a way to impeach the Prime Minister? Politics is about positioning people onto a muddy slope and watching them slide down. They've got no choice, they can kick back against it, they can try and go back up the hill, but they end up sliding down further. That's what I've just had to do. Just watch everyone slide down, just going down the slide, watching everything fall. And I can't do anything about it. Watching all the betrayals, watching all the quizzlings and all the usual lies and sycophants and pandering media and talking points. And I can't do anything about it because there's a full spectrum control dominance system, including social media and algorithms, that are stopping me from doing anything about it. It's almost like I want to save the world, but it's illegal to do so. So I have to watch it die. Brilliant.